This is your spaghetti factory?
My spaghetti factory. This is your instrument wiring loom. So this is still not totally neatened up, but what we do is we run all the wires to where it should go. Now you're going to see right here, there's going to be 3 big connectors. Now those 3 connectors goes to the avionics panel that connects the instrument panel with the rest of the aircraft. So once, does these have instrument plate already fitted or not? For the avionics? No, on the bottom. You know where we put the 3 big connectors? So the nice thing is that we can then literally build a complete avionics panel here on the table. Once this part is built, remember those 3 big connectors connect to another 3 big connectors, which is the part that goes to the rest of the aircraft. So it's a bit messy, sorry, there's a lot of stuff lying here, but as you can see, there will be 3 big connectors here. Now those 3 connectors will go to the rest of the aircraft. Some will go to the tail along the floor, and some will go through that pillar to the top.
Oh, yeah.
So there's going to be, at the top you've got an autopilot servo, you've got lights, you've got fuel sensors. At the bottom, the ones going to the bottom, you're going to have a compass unit, you're going to have another servo, which is the pitch servo that goes to the rear. And obviously all the audio to the sticks, the sticks, your PTTs and things. So when we are finished with that, with the panel part, and we've done with the tail part, which is, it's a bit of a mess, but it's really getting there. So we still have to make off the connectors, still have to fit the circuit breakers, still have to fit all the switches. But then we physically connect this to that, and then we simulate the complete system. We start up all the avionics. We make sure that and your avionics are in boxes right there. So all the stuff is there. All the Garmins, the GNX 375. Here is what we've got just written down, so we can just do a quick run out of what's happening here. But as you can see, every connector and every place, wherever there goes, so there's a wire.
There's a label.
There's a label for that wire. And every one of those are in, so we first make it up, and you can see this is the big power connector that goes to the front of the engine. This one here is the one that connects to the 2 other connectors of we call them the human interface, or the HIC connectors. Those connectors will go to the engine. So you can literally, when we start all of this up, we can pull the engine over here, and we can literally put those 2 connectors in there, and you can even see if you pick up all the engines.
Nice.
We normally don't do it, but you can actually simulate it if you want. So this is just what's happening here. I would say there's probably another a week of work in here, then the wiring is done. Now, I'd like to get this done not later by the end of next week, because then that will be at the point where there's probably going to be a fuel, the little header fuel tank's going to be in, the fuel system is going to go in, and once that is done, then we will fit the dashboard, and then we want to start running the wires to where it should go. That's sort of a plan. So end of next week. I'm always optimistic, but that's sort of the idea, is to get the wiring in while we're building. It just makes it so much easier,
Right.
So yeah, that's just this. But people sometimes ask, but where's the cost in all of this? And I'll just give you a simple idea. The power connectors that we use, example, that goes through to the engine bay, it's 12 gauge wire, so it's a little bit of a higher ampage connector. But that little thing there is $24.
Yeah.
One. That's $24 per connector. So there you go. It's literally almost $1,000 because it's all gold plated. So it's literally about $1,000 just for those, just for this connector, in terms of the connector. And we use the Canon type connectors. So everything that you see here in this little box, that's your stuff.
Right.
I've started packing it out. Circuit breakers, the circular connectors like this, the plastic connectors, okay? So it's exactly the same as what the factory use. So it really nicely just sort of screws in place. They pretty, you know, once it clicks in place, it's a very secure connector. And if you do it properly, they can last a long time. Okay. So yeah, so this is all the little connectors. Those are the high power ones that goes to the engine. And then it's just switches. There's some USB ports, you know, things like...
Did we get the expensive ones or the cheap ones?
Yeah, you can go for the Garmin ones. They're about $500 a piece. Very good.
I think Cade
You can
went
use
for
these
one.
ones, which are pretty nice. And we've never had any interference from these on aircraft radios. So, but as I said, you know, we can do the Garmin ones, but it's just a little bit.
I think Cade said he had one Garmin and one cheapie, and he said the
Of
Garmin one
course, yes.
charged a lot
Then the
better.
other thing that the factory does, you know, your wing to fuselage connectors.
Yeah.
You know, because you'll be able to take the wing off, but put the wing back on. You've got connectors there, and you've got the same type of connectors on the empennage for your trim and your lights.
Yeah.
So the factory uses these, you know, the circular connectors, but smaller ones, because you only need like a 8-pin one. So they use them. We, however, prefer to use the Deutsch connectors. Now these are used a lot in the motor industry. Very good quality connectors, seals very, very well, so very well protected against. You will know them. You will know these connectors. So we use Deutsch connectors. Now you obviously you get a lot of knockoffs that claim it's not. We use the real thing. So the real Deutsch connectors, they are pretty good. So we just but for the rest of it we use the big high power ones, you know. So that's the story. Some antennas here already. That's your wing and tip lights that sit in here.
Yes.
Somewhere here is, we don't have a stick grips yet because you guys opted to go for a different.
We're talking about the Pioneers or maybe the fighter jet ones. We haven't decided yet.
Yeah.
What's that for?
Stick grips.
Control stick.
Now,
Control grips.
Now that's just me.
Yes.
And I've flown with those fighter pilot grips. It looks awesome, and it's probably nice if you fly with them and you put your Top Gun soundtrack on. In my view, pretty uncomfortable, especially for long trips. If you're going to hand fly the aircraft for a while, I don't know, that's just me again. I don't like them at all. The standard old Ray Allen foam grips that the factory normally put as standard on the aircraft, I still find them by far the most comfortable. They're not cheap. At about $200, probably compared to about $600-700.
Do we have those or?
I've got some of those in stock, but I can also show you the other grips, which is the Toston. So Toston also makes another grip. So Toston is that fighter pilot grip.
Right.
It's it's Toston MS style. So that's the military style. But then you have a Toston standard one, which is very similar. What I do like about the fighter pilot one is the little hat for the trim, which is really nice. That's my only negative on the standard grips, is that you've got those two little trim buttons on the top. They're very easy to operate.
Yeah.
But pretty sensitive, you know, when your finger is in the wrong place. You know, inadvertently you can possibly just touch it. They're pretty sensitive. And, you know, by the time you get onto the runway, you've got a full nose down trim. We had an issue where one of our students accidentally trimmed nose down, and it was probably on the third or the fourth solo, and she didn't know what's happening because the aircraft takes off, but everything is heavy. It feels like the aircraft want to go down, and you know, so it went into a pretty panicky situation. Obviously, all you had to do was to trim back. However, you know, so I'm just saying that that's my only negative about it. But you know, if you're aware of it, there's lots of them flying. You're not going to do it, but that's my only negative about it. So yeah,
And
you ready to start today?
Yep.
do we need to start talking to somebody about the panel?
The panel, what do we want on the panel? Backlighting, do you want backlighting? If you want backlighting, then we have to start that process.
All right.
I can fit the whole thing in there without the panel. The panel can take 3 months to get here, 4 months, I don't mind. So it's not a big thing because we can fit it as the final panel. So for now, we'll manufacture, like it's cheap. We will just manufacture a standard panel like that, which will just pop in there just for
test
installation
flying
purposes. And then I've got, you can see there's like 5 or 6 or 7 test panels just sitting up there. So we just use one of them, flop it into your aircraft until we get the backlit panel. So the biggest thing with a backlit panel is obviously you need to be able to manufacture that. We have done one backlit panel before. It was quite a process because it was a chap in New Zealand that did it for us. What I didn't like about that specific one is everything where there's lights, where there's switches, where there's circuit breakers, it was separate little panels that had to be cut, had to be engraved, had to be painted, then sent to them, then back to us. It was a very long process, but yes, we talked about maybe approaching somebody that can actually just do that portion for us. Hopefully, not long from now, we will be able to do those backlit panels ourselves. But
what's the advantage of a backlit panel?
It's just there's no other advantage for having a backlit panel except for that it looks pretty awesome at night. All your decals is like lit up. There's no physical light that goes on the panel. It's literally everything is backlit because your ethers and everything has got its own backlights.
So it's just like
It's really just to see, it's just to see which switch, etc., to switch on. However, the way we do it, and that's how the factory does it, is it's got a simple overhead, just here, it's got 2 little overhead, little panel lights, which gives a nice soft red light on your panel, not harsh, not hard on your eyes, dimmable. So that's the other option. So you've got the cheap option and the pretty expensive option, which is obviously the backlit panel.
I'd rather have the basics because this is like the learning plane.
And all of these things can be upgradable. And I can tell you now, I have seen, yes, you get that, you get the pilot that starts like you guys now. You start to learn to fly. Just my simple personal opinion. You want to get a pretty decent amount of hours behind you as a good VFR pilot. You get to know your aircraft. Then after you've done that flying, do a lot of cross country and fly a lot, build up some hours, build up some experience. Just, experience in VFR conditions is going to teach you a heck of a lot if you want to upgrade to the next step. And the next step will probably be, your aircraft's going to be IFR. The next step will probably be IFR, night VFR. So you'll probably go night VFR, then IFR. So in Australia, we've got a thing they call private IFR as well, which is a little bit of a shortcut to your IFR flying.
That's what I'm working on.
Yes, so you can do your private IFR. But seriously, and I think many pilots will tell you the same thing. If you do not fly IFR fairly regularly, and you do this only like once every 6 or 8 months, it's not the greatest thing. It all comes just back to experience. And that's again, it's just me. People may not agree with me. But
So
that's me.
getting back to the panel, like your normal day-to-day flying, like you'd never use the backlight?
No, not at all. No. You don't need it. So if you've got like what we standard do, and you've seen my aircraft panel, and there you can have it painted, you can put that carbon look on. But those they're pretty nicely engraved, and you put them on, you can see everything, it's very clear, it's nice. And in the evening, when you do have initially just the little pedestal lights with a soft red glow, then, by the way, I think backlight panels, I used to work on Air Mackie Impalas in South Africa, Air Mackie jets. A lot of those aircraft had little pedestals, small little pedestals on the panel with a soft red light on all the instruments and the switches. The actual backlighting on panels is, I won't say it's new, but it's sort of more of a, not a recent thing, but it's starting to, because it really looks nice. It's very, very nice, make no mistake.
But if you're not night rated, you're not going to use it much.
You're going to use it very little. In my view, you're actually going to use it very little unless you fly quite a bit at night. And again, single engine night flying operations.
Try to avoid.
It's probably good if you really have to do it. I mean, Rotax engines are so reliable, but still, again, you know, it's just that added bit of caution. You know, me and my family, whenever we fly, we always have it, and I've drilled it into them, and I drill it into everyone. Wherever you fly, if you don't know, you know. Simple. If you don't know, you know. So basically, you get to the airport, you want to go and fly, and you look at the weather, and you know, you stand there, you know, I don't know. You know, stay, don't fly. That's been my motto, and I promise you, if you can keep to that, you're probably going to be a pretty safe pilot. Seriously, that's the only advice I can give you. If you don't know, stay another night. You've got time. You've got time. You know, it's an old saying as well. You know, if you've got time, fly with your own plane.
Exercise the credit card option.
Exactly.
Get a hotel.
Just stay another night. Stay another week. If you're not sure, don't fly.
And yes, the engine so Bruce can drool.
Yeah. We'll get you something to drool over very, very soon. I hope that engine will be here Monday, Tuesday. Okay. So yes, that's for now, because I like to get the engine on pretty early in the build, so that we can get into the cockpit without something tipping in. So yeah, that's what we do. So engine should be here soon. Prop, I have to order your prop. You guys are set on taking the 4-blade Duke. I can tell you, I have now flown a couple empty and Duke. I don't know, I like the Duke. I really like it. I won't say it's better, man. They both very good quality. Both of them, good quality. My only thing about the MT is wooden core, rough runways, chips on the prop, water ingress, prop can split.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to happen,
This is just a potential, sure.
but I've got a little bit of experience in that regard.
4 blades go faster too, right, Errol?
Generally better takeoff.
Yeah.
Generally better takeoff, generally. But in the cruise it depends. But no, it's both of them. We've tried them both, and they're very, very similar. One of my customers that we helped him to build has a Duke prop on, and on my own aircraft I've got an MT. Personally, I think his aircraft is going faster. Yeah.
Was that you flying the TSI around last week on the test flight?
No, that was all James.
Okay.
We've got another 8 hours to go.
It was so quiet, it was lulling me to sleep as it flew overhead. Great scene.
All right, so Bruce engine will be here soon. But so next week James will be here, and then we will start with a firewall forward. We'll start with a fuel system.
So is this us over here? Is that ours over here?
That's yours here.
Okay, cool.
So you've done the seats, so that's good. The rear seats are basically done, which is really good. So I think you're probably going to start moving on to, inside the rudder pedals. Yep. From the rudder pedals, you're going to go to some of the controls. Yep. And then the other thing that I said to him, please get that assembled for me. It's on the table there, is the whole throttle quadrant assembly. Because once I've got that, I'm just a bit concerned because it looks like we are missing some parts of the braking system. Yes. To start with, that happened. We've got wheels, axles, we've got rotors, brake rotors, and 0 calipers.
Oh, darn.
I don't know where's the calipers. So
the most important bit.
You have to stick your feet out and drag them on the ground.
You push your hands out there and yeah. So I don't know what happened there. We're on to the factory about that. So he's got a packing list there because I brought my high wing fuselage and finishing kit, so he can use that to check what we have, what we don't, and he can use the same list, what you've got, what you don't have, and then we will address that. But I think we've got enough to carry on with tonight.